Hello, so we are on day three of our Python Bootcamp class. You can join us through this bootcamp by contacting me through the email kobinaadu10 at gmail.com. So, before we start the class for today, I want to introduce you to one function called the range function. Now, the syntax for the range function. The range function helps us generate a set of values, okay, and the syntax for it is being written over here. Now let's assume that you want to generate some numbers, okay, and the numbers you want something from 1 to 10. Now most of you are tempted to create a list and type these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what if you want them to be from 1 to 100 or to 2000, or from even 10 to 2 million? It becomes difficult to type all these values. So we are going to look at the range function that's going to help us generate these numbers given certain parameters. So looking at the syntax up here, in order to create a range, you type this command. So let's say we have numbers is equal to range into brackets. Now you have to specify the starting point. Okay, you have to specify the starting point. So your range, where do you want your range to start? So it should start from 1, and the stopping point, so how far do you want it to go? But remember, it always stop 1 before the stopping point you indicated. So I want it to stop at point, let's say I want the values from 1 to 10, but then it will stop before 10, so I'll put 11, so that when it stops before 11, it actually end up stopping at what? 10. Okay, then what is the step by which rate should it increase? Okay, and it should increase by 1. So from here, I've created a range of values from 1 to 11, or 1 less than 11, which is 10, and with the interval of what? 1 1 1. And this is the syntax. So range into brackets, start, stop, step. Okay, so let us print numbers. Okay, let us print numbers. So when I run this function, I get range 1 to 11, but then we want to see the numbers in there. So to see the numbers in there, we have to unpack it. We have to unpack the content of this range data type, and the unpacking, we use asterisk to unpack. So asterisk numbers means that take out the coverings of whatever data you have and let us see what is inside. Okay, so when I run it again, we get 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. This is the data that has been packed into the range 1 to 11. So by putting the asterisk, it unpack the data and you see actually what is inside. This also holds true when you are dealing with print. You have a list 1 2 3 4 5, and you have a list. Now if you are to print, let me comment this one out. If you are to print the list, you get this thing showing. But once you put the asterisk to unpack it, all the other things around the data, like the brackets, the commas, all the features of the data gets removed, and the content of that data type is being displayed. And here the content is 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so we are applying, I'm just explaining that asterisk. It's not peculiar to the range function, but it could be applied elsewhere. That's why I used it on the what? The list data type. Okay, so we will see that we've been able to generate range of values from 1 to 10 by writing this command. And you can do it for any arbitrary number. So you can say num is equal to range, okay, from negative 45 to -1 in a step of what? 3. Okay, in a step of 3. Then from here we have to print it. Let me comment this one out and let me say print. Now when I run this, I get the range start from -45 and ends at -1 with a step of 3. Now let me try to unpack it. So -45 minus plus 3 will be 42 plus 3, 39, 36, 33, 30, 27, and so on and so forth till it gets to 3. And 3 plus 3 is 0. And we said we want to end at -1. So we can't cross anything beyond -1, including -1 itself. Okay, so this is the range function. Now, assuming that you didn't indicate the step, okay, so you just wrote the syntax. So I range start, comma, stop. Now, if you write something like this, the range into bracket start and stop, the computer assumes that the step is 1. So if we have x is equal to range, the starting value is 6, the stopping value is 9, the computer automatically assumes that the step is 1. So print unpack x. So 6, 7, 8, and voila, we are done. So 6, 7, 8, 9 is not part. Okay. So once that we've been able to generate a set of values from a particular point to a particular point, given that the default value for the step is equal to 1. Now let us look at how we can, let us look at other forms. Okay. So given this, there's one last form. So sometimes, let's say, let me call it digits. So sometimes you may have a range, okay, from let's say 3 to 6, okay, and you want a step of what? 0.5. I don't think it will work. Leading zeros with decimal literal are not permitted. Okay, so leading zero with decimal literals are not permitted. So we cannot put 0.5 inside the range function. Okay, so it's running perfectly well. The fact that the answer didn't come is because I didn't put any print function here. Okay, and it is running perfectly well. Okay, so that being said and done, I think let me show you the last demonstration on the range function. So sometimes if you know that your range function should start from 0, you can put in 0 to, let's say, 15. Okay, but since it's starting from 0, you can ignore the initial one and say your range function to 15. To 15 means that it should start from 0. So here the assumption is that it should start from 0 and end on 14. Now when we have this, okay, the assumption is that it should start on the start value is 6, the ending value is what? 9. Then it means the assumption is step is equal to 1. Okay, by default step becomes equal to 1. Then now here When you put range 15, the assumption is it will generate values from 0 to what? 14. Okay, so from 0 to 14, it will generate values for you. So once you put in a single number without any other indicators, that single number becomes the endpoint, and the first point becomes what? 0 till that endpoint, whatever endpoint you put in there. So I think this is enough for your range function. So have a nice day. Bye.